Good day everyone, Max here from Evidence-Based Football Manager. This is part 6 of my training analysis video series for FM23. Today we're going to talk about how player attributes grow in FM23. This topic for today is kind of similar to the part 1 video where I talked about the current ability ratings of players in FM23, but today we're focusing on attributes instead of the CA ratings. The very first thing I wanted to mention today is that in Football Manager, player attributes are on a scale of 1 to 100 instead of a scale of 1 to 20. I've mentioned the concept of Centi attributes before in one of my previous videos where I talked about the relationship between CA ratings and attributes, but I'll explain it again here anyway because it's a very important concept. The Centi attributes of players in Football Manager, they are so how it works is they are divided into 5 and rounded up or down to the nearest integer before they are displayed in the game, which creates the illusion that attributes are on a scale of 1 to 20. For example, let's say a player's passing Centi attribute is 68 out of 100. It will be divided into 5, which is 13.6, which will be rounded up to 14 and displayed as 14 out of 20 in the game. On the other hand, if the passing Centi attribute is 67 out of 100, it will be divided into 5, which is 13.4, which will be rounded down to 13 and displayed as 13 out of 20 in the game. The various types of arrows that appear next to player attributes in the game, they're an indication that there's been a recent change in the Centi attributes of that player. I'll call these arrows growth arrows for the remainder of this video. I was able to use a cheat engine table to capture the exact moment when a change occurs in a player's Centi attributes in FM23, and then what I did was I could cross-reference that information with the different types of growth arrows that appear in the game. By doing this, I could uncover three important pieces of information regarding attribute growth in FM23. Firstly, I could find out the exact meaning behind the different types of growth arrows that appear in the game. I'll display the list on the screen right now for you to have a look. So let's go through it, yeah? So a yellow arrow that's pointing slightly upwards means that the player's Centi attribute has gone up by 1 or 2 points, although sometimes a growth in one Centi attribute point doesn't always produce a growth arrow. A green colored arrow that's pointing about 45 degrees upwards means that the Centi attribute has gone up by 3 or 4 points. As I've mentioned before, when Centi attributes go up by 3 or more points, it will make the attribute tick over to the next integer, and the actual attribute will go up by one whole number. A dark green arrow that points vertically upwards is an indication that the Centi attribute has gone up by 5 or even more points, which will definitely increase the set attribute by one full integer. A light orange arrow that points slightly downwards means that the Centi attribute has gone down by 1 or 2 points. A red arrow that points around 45 degrees downwards means that the Centi attribute has gone down by 3 or 4 points, which will reduce the set attribute to the next lower integer. A dark red arrow that points vertically downwards means that the Centi attribute has gone down by 5 or even more points, which will definitely make the set attribute go down by one whole number. The second thing I've discovered using the cheat engine table is that growth in Football Manager can only occur once a month. Every player in the game has a specific growth date that falls on the same date every month, and I don't know how these dates are determined by the game, but player attributes can either go up or down only on that date. It doesn't mean that growth has to occur every single month for a player. It's quite common for a growth date to pass by for a player without any changes taking place, especially for older players who have already reached their peaks in terms of growth. But if growth does take place for a player, it can only happen on the player's growth date in that month, only once a month. The third thing I've discovered using the cheat engine table is that growth arrows are updated on the first of every month, and they contain information about any changes that took place in that same month and also in the preceding month. For example, let's say a player's growth date is on the 10th of every month. And also let's say that on the 10th of July, some growth took place for that player. So what will happen is on the 10th of July, there will be some new growth arrows that appear for that player. And those arrows will last until the 30th of August. On the 1st of September, there will be an update, and any arrows that appeared in July will disappear on the 1st of September. I'm going to show you a live example to demonstrate all of this. So what I'll do is I'm going to start a new save in FM23 just with the English Premier League loaded as a playable league. And what I'll do is I'm going to take charge of Manchester United. Now, from my previous observations, I know that the growth date for Marcus Rashford, who's one of the players for Manchester United, his growth date is on the 7th of every month. So what I'll do is I'm just going to fast forward the game to the 6th of July, which is one day before Marcus Rashford's first growth date in the game. So if you have a look at this page for Marcus Rashford, so now it's the 6th of July, yeah? And you can see that there's no growth arrows anywhere here, which means that no growth has taken place so far for Marcus Rashford. I'll quickly show you the Cheat Engine table as well here, and you can confirm that there hasn't been any changes to any of Marcus Rashford's attributes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to progress the game to the next day. So now it's the 7th of July, and if I go back to the page for Marcus Rashford, you can see that all these new arrows have suddenly appeared, indicating that there's been some changes to Marcus Rashford's Senti attributes on the 7th of July, which is his growth date. And I'll show you the Cheat Engine table as well, and you can confirm that the growth arrows that you see in the game, they match up with the actual changes in Marcus Rashford's Senti attributes. Let me now progress the game for another 29 days. So we'll go to the 6th of August, which is again one day before Marcus Rashford's growth date in August. And if you have a look at the Cheat Engine table now, you can confirm that there hasn't been any new changes since the 7th of July. And if I progress the game one more day to the 7th of August, and if you have a look at Marcus Rashford's page again, oh gosh, what happened here, Marcus? You can see here that lots of new arrows have appeared, indicating that a new set of changes has taken place to Marcus Rashford's Senti attributes. And finally, if I progress the game to the 1st of September, here you can see that the arrows have been updated so that the growth arrows that appeared in the month of August are still here, but the first set of arrows that appeared in the month of July have now disappeared. Remember, just because you see all these growth arrows in the game, it doesn't mean that the attributes on a scale of 1 to 20 have actually risen or fallen. The growth arrows indicate changes in the Senti attributes of players in Football Manager. So if the Senti attributes go up or down by minor amounts, only by 1 or 2 points, then yes, you will see all these growth arrows that appear, but it doesn't mean that the attributes actually went up or down on a scale of 1 to 20. All right, next one I want to do is there was an Excel table that I wanted to show you. Okay, so this table shows you the range of player attributes that grow during the course of one season in FM23 for 15-year-old players. These players did regular senior team training and played regular senior league matches throughout the season in FM23. Actually, this is the same experiment that I showed you in the Part 4 training analysis video. But in that video, I was focusing more on how the CA ratings of players change through time. whereas today I'm trying to focus more on the attributes. I've applied, so I'm using Excel and I've applied a 3-color gradient to all these cells. So cells that contain positive values here are highlighted in green, whereas cells that contain negative values are highlighted in, they're supposed to be highlighted in red, but for 15-year-old players, there aren't many cells that are colored in red. You can see that most types of attributes grew pretty well for 15-year-old players, but there were some attributes where the amount of growth was very limited. They are aggression, bravery, determination, eccentricity, tendency to punch, and tendency to rush out. The reasons why these attributes didn't show much growth in my tests, they're all different for all these 6 types of attributes. For example, bravery is an attribute that very rarely goes up for a player in FM23. But they can go down if a player sustains a major injury in the game. Determination is an attribute that, to my knowledge, it cannot be boosted by training or match exposure, but it can be boosted by factors in the game that's other than training or match experience. I won't go into too much details about the determination attribute here because that would be a whole new topic for another day. Aggression, eccentricity, tendency to punch, and tendency to rush out are 4 types of attributes in the game that are fixed, and to my knowledge, they can never change. It doesn't matter how much training they do, and also it doesn't matter how much game time players get. Aggression, eccentricity, tendency to punch, and tendency to rush out. These 4 attributes neither go up nor down throughout a player's career in Football Manager. So the reason why I'm showing you this table is that when I'm building my custom training schedule for FM23, this is the table that I will have to beat. The players in this experiment were doing just normal regular training using the default training schedules that are provided by the base game, which means that the amount of growth shown in this table this is what the base game can achieve in terms of the amount of player growth. Any custom training schedule that people like me make and upload on the internet, you should be able to outperform the amount of growth shown in this table. Because if you're gonna make a custom training schedule and if it can't even beat the default training schedules that are provided by the base game, then you might as well not bother, yeah? So to outperform the amount of player growth that you see in this table will be the aim of evidence-based training schedule for FM23. Okay people, time to make a summary of today's findings. 1. Player attributes in Football Manager are on a scale of 1 to 100, but they are displayed on a scale of 1 to 20 in the game. 2. There are 6 types of growth arrows that indicate recent changes in a player's Senti attributes. These growth arrows indicate any changes that happen in the current month and in the preceding month, and they are updated on the 1st of every month. 3. Growth in Football Manager occurs once a month on a date that is fixed for every player, although a player doesn't have to grow on every single growth dates in every single month. 4. There are 6 types of player attributes that doesn't seem to be stimulated by training or match exposure. They are aggression, bravery, determination, eccentricity, tendency to punch, and tendency to rush out. The rest of the attributes will grow well as long as you provide your players with adequate amounts of training and adequate amounts of game time. Okay folks, that's it for today. Any questions, feedbacks, leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to reply to them as much as I can. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye.